In a small forgotten town surrounded by whispering pines, an antique shop sat at the edge of silence. Inside, behind dusty glass, rested a porcelain doll named Mandy. Her cracked cheeks bore faint stains like dried tears. Her glass eyes, faded blue, seemed to follow anyone who dared to linger. No one ever bought her. The shopkeeper, Mrs. Doran, often muttered that Mandy was special, not in a sweet way. She claimed the doll cried at night when the moonlight touched her face. One stormy afternoon, a young woman named Clara wandered in. She'd lost her daughter months ago and sought something, anything, to fill the unbearable quiet at home. Her gaze fell on Mandy. Despite the cracks, something about the doll's sorrowful expression tugged at her. Maybe it was the loneliness reflected back at her heart. Mrs. Doran warned her, gently, "She's not a toy for comfort, dear." But Clara only smiled faintly. "Neither am I." And so, Mandy was carried home in trembling arms. That night, thunder roared like a wounded beast. Clara placed Mandy on her daughter's old bed, whispering, "You'll keep her company, won't you?" Mandy's head tilted slightly. Clara froze. It must have been her imagination, she thought. Still, something heavy pressed the air, like grief made visible. She turned off the light and tried to sleep. At midnight, soft humming drifted from the room, a lullaby Clara hadn't sung in months. She rose, heart hammering, and opened the door. Mandy sat upright, humming. The melody stopped the moment Clara gasped. The doll's glass eyes gleamed wetly, reflecting candlelight though none burned nearby. A faint childlike whisper echoed, "Mommy." Tears blurred Clara's sight. "Who said that?" she whispered. No answer. Only the faint creak of the rocking chair, moving though no one sat in it anymore. The next morning, Clara found small footprints in the dust by the window. Too small for hers. Too real for a dream. She cleaned them, trying not to cry. Days passed. Clara began speaking to Mandy as though she were alive. It soothed her oddly. The doll never replied, yet the house felt less empty. For a while, until Clara woke one dawn to find Mandy sitting beside her pillow, hair tangled, dress wet with what looked like tears. Cold tears. That wasn't water. She screamed, throwing the doll against the wall, but Mandy landed softly, like invisible hands had caught her. Then came the whisper again, "Don't leave me, Mommy." Clara ran to the church the next morning, trembling, holding the doll wrapped in cloth. The priest refused to touch it. "There's something restless inside," he said quietly. "Then bless her," Clara begged. "She's hurting." The priest only frowned. Sometimes the dead cling to what they love. Sometimes they confuse love for chains. That night, Clara left Mandy outside the church steps and returned home empty-handed. But when she woke, the doll was in her bed, smiling faintly, whispering, "You forgot me." Her sanity began to slip. The mirrors cracked whenever she cried. The radio played lullabies on its own. And sometimes, she swore she saw her daughter's shadow behind Mandy. The neighbors started avoiding her house. They said they heard a child's laughter at 3 a.m., followed by the sound of breaking glass and someone softly weeping. One evening, Clara held the doll and whispered, "If you're my little girl, show me." The room grew cold. Pictures fell. And suddenly, Mandy's voice changed, older, sadder. "I was never your child. I just wanted a mother." Then the doll's porcelain lips cracked, revealing teeth, small, human, and trembling with sorrow, not hunger. Clara dropped her. The doll shattered, or should have. But instead, she stood whole again, now crying real tears that burned tiny holes in the floorboards. "Why me?" Clara sobbed. "Because you were lonely," Mandy answered, her voice breaking. "And I was lost." Two broken souls found each other. But love doesn't always heal the dead. Lightning struck nearby, and the whole house flickered. The walls seemed to breathe. Mandy stepped closer, gently touching Clara's face. "I only wanted to be held one last time." Clara hesitated, then opened her arms. The doll smiled, a fragile, grateful smile. As their embrace tightened, Mandy's body crumbled into dust, soft and glowing like ash. The house went silent. Clara sank to the floor, clutching the empty dress, sobbing. The air smelled like rain and loss. Outside, dawn began to bloom, painfully beautiful. Days later, the neighbors found the house empty. On the bed lay a porcelain doll, newly restored. And beside it, a note written in shaky handwriting. "She's free now." But when the police carried the doll away, they swore her eyes followed them, softer this time, almost peaceful, like someone finally forgiven after years of haunting. The antique shop reopened months later. On its dusty shelf sat Mandy again, silent but serene. Beneath her tag, someone had written in faint ink, "Not for sale." Visitors sometimes said they heard a woman's voice humming nearby, gentle, aching, motherly. Mrs. Doran never denied it. She just smiled sadly and whispered, "They found each other." At night, the moonlight touched Mandy's cheek, and for the first time in decades, her eyes closed, as though she were sleeping, not watching anymore. The wind carried the faintest lullaby through the shop. Outside, rain fell softly, washing the streets clean of old grief. The town, somehow, felt lighter. And though no one spoke it aloud, everyone who passed the shop felt it. That quiet, aching truth. Even cursed hearts, once loved enough, can finally rest. Make it possible to follow, like, comment, and share.